Introducing a one-of-a-kind adventure where you can get face-to-face with the extraordinary. At Ugly Zoo, you can meet our endearing cast of exotic animals, like lions, tigers, bears, and oh my god, what the fuck is that? Ugly Zoo is a sanctuary of surprises, a place where nature's oddities are celebrated. It's a place where you can get up close and personal with the world's quirkiest creatures. Okay, but seriously, I don't understand why it has to be in the room with us. Bring your family and friends for an unforgettable day of discovery and laughter. And here's the best part, you won't find animals like these anywhere else. Oh my god, it's in the room again. So come see what's new at Ugly Zoo. Bigger, faster, uglier. Ugly Zoo. It's wild. My favorite place growing up was Ugly Zoo. All 90s kids will of course remember the commercials and advertisements, and not to mention the awesome toys. So when my friend Jesse invited me to make something from our favorite place, I was more than happy. When I was little, I was lucky enough to actually visit Ugly Zoo on one occasion, and ever since then, my favorite animal has always been the shantu, one of nature's most colorful and unknown creatures. So grabbing a bucket of animal toys from my local shop, I started having a look through them to get a sense of the parts that I'll need. And that's interesting. There's a headless dinosaur here. Well, that's convenient, since obviously we'll need parts from this to make our shantu. Now from here, I'm just sort of breaking each of the toy animals down to their separate parts, and I'll get a sense of which pieces I need. Whenever I do any toy kit bashing like this, I like to channel my inner Sid from Toy Story, and just start cutting each of them down into individual pieces, since you never know when you might need hooves, horns, or other bits for future projects. Not to mention the fact that the sculpting on these isn't very detailed. Now, conveniently, this bucket of toys also came with these small trees that won't really work as trees for our purpose, but the texture on the leaves reminds me of the fungal texture for the shantu. Now, while I don't think I'll need this panther tail, the shape has a good curve to it, so I might just save it for... Didn't realize that that one had a sound box in it. Obviously the shantu changes its form, but females always generally graft themselves to creatures with prehensile arms, which this dinosaur toy will be perfect for. I'll just pop those off this time instead of using clips or a knife. To give our animal a serpent-like neck, I'll just use the trunk from this elephant and... oh, that's hard to look at. Let's try that again. And for the head, I'll use this giraffe because it's simple. What the hell is happening here? Finally, to recreate the large leafy mane on our animal, I do have some fake plants that I did buy separately, but still from a dollar shop. Now that we have all of our main parts, we can start putting our little creature together. In the spirit of a true dollar store toy bash, I'm using some foil to fill in the hole on our bison's body, and just hot glue to hold it into place. Hot glue is great for this application because it will stick to most cheap plastic toys. You can use super glue, but you might have to heat treat the plastic first, depending on the quality of your toys. Now we can glue on the elephant trunk just like before, and then make a small hole in our animal's backside to pin the tail on the donkey, as it were. We'll also repeat this step for the head. Pinning is a great way to secure any small parts when kit bashing or building. If I just use glue on the soft plastic to hold these parts in place, they would probably break off quite easily. Now we can add on the grafted arms, which our shantu would of course use to hold its prey in place, and then, using its powerful neck, attack its prey. I know the giraffe head seems a little too cutesy for this predator, but since it can absorb just about any animal and take on its features, and since this was appropriately the right size, I figure it will turn out just fine when I add on its leafy mane. Did you know that the mane forms a bulb-like cocoon while the head is gestating? What a beautiful critter. Now of course the last step is to add some texture. Using the tops of those trees from earlier, as well as some hot glue, This will mimic the natural fungal form of the beastie and hide all those pesky seam lines and cut marks from our toy bashing. Remember, this is the ugly stage of our Ugly Zoo build. Once it's primed with spray paint, it's going to look like a more cohesive animal. Speaking of which, what's your favorite animal from Ugly Zoo? Was it Monkey Darko or the Larafarilla? Maybe just a lion? Be sure to leave a comment down below. But with that, I took our little model outside, primed it with some paint, and left it overnight, and oh, the head looks different. I don't remember it looking like this yesterday, but I must be misremembering. Anyway, while I paint this, I just thought I'd take a little time to cover what I remember about the Shantu, and of course share some interesting animal facts with you all. The Shantu, or in the scientific community, Arborescens ingratus, is a plant-like creature that evolved from somewhere in the region of northern Asia. It was first formally recorded by researchers in Siberia during the 1720s. However, there are many a folktale from much earlier that lead scientists to believe that the Shantu have been around for much, much longer. The most striking feature about this animal is that it is plant-like in its appearance, which also happens to be the only physical trait shared amongst the species. Researchers have observed that the Shantu go through feeding cycles, where they capture prey, graft it onto their form, and slowly absorb the nutrients, while using the parts of their prey as new limbs. Once the limb has been spent, it starts a new feeding cycle all over again. While there have only ever been 3 recorded cases of Shantu in captivity, no one has ever been lucky enough to have 2 at the same time, and as a result, we still don't know exactly how they reproduce. Given how elusive the creatures are, there have been wide-ranging theories about its reproductive cycle. I can actually see here that there are some theories that they release spores like common fungi, and during their mating season, the female Shantu's plant matter changes in color, which can get as bright as vibrant neon in some cases. That's weird. The one at Ugly Zoo was pink when I went to visit, but I mean, if it had spores, they would have done something by now. I mean, that was 19 years ago. Would have done something already, right? Thanks again so much to Jesse for this little trip down memory lane. It was really fun to relive part of my childhood and make this toy that I've always wanted. If you enjoyed this video or were just a fan of Ugly Zoo, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. You can see more of my work and the things I make in the description, as well as ways that you can support me directly, like through Patreon. Also, Jesse has invited a bunch of other people to make their favorite animals from Ugly Zoo, so be sure to go check them out in case they made your favorite ugly critter. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!